Hello everyone, welcome to another interesting episode of Munchies and Thoughts. My name is Phathanani, I am your chef. Of course, I am not alone, I'm joined by two handsome men, one beautiful ladies. So we should namhlanje ngiyashada. Guys, welcome, how are you?
Siyaphila njani?
Siyaphila nathi. Guys, a lot is happening today. You'll start by introducing yourself. Who are you, where you from, and what's special about you? Then we go to business of the day.
All right, first of all, Phathanani, thank you so much for inviting me here. The food looks beautiful. Bona. It's beautiful. So my name is Tshekedi Monyemore, guys. I'm a stand-up comedian and I run Team Media, which is a concept company where we create concepts and use comedy to push and punt messages. So yeah. So actually today, if anything, I know we've got something that we're talking about, but if anything, people need to know that they need to find their own comedian and just follow that person with all their hearts. Sure.
Oh, okay. Over to you.
Yeah, I'm Nota, the good authority.
Yeah. A good authority. Gambe, where did I hear that name? But anyway, yeah, so you're done. That was a nice one. Nota, the good authority. Welcome, my darling. Thank you so much. Over to you.
Sanibona, my name is Nhlamulo Makanya. I am a teacher, I guess. I teach at Wits University at the medical school there.
Okay, thank you so much. Nizizweleke basichazile ukuthi bangobani babuyaphi. Kanti futhi ngizwe ukuthi nje mina I am the good deeds. The good deeds. I know that word, but somewhere else. Guys, thank you so much for honoring the invitation to be with me today. You are welcome. Please have fun with me because I am the funny person myself, Chef Phathanani Mbatha. Namhlanje babukeli bamakhaya, we are discussing the impact of apartheid in our families. Please get me correct. We're not only discussing apartheid, but we're discussing impact in our families. So there are a lot of things that will be jumping in, that will be discussing. I know somewhere, somehow, some of the things that we'll be talking about might sit kabi, kwabanye abantu might sit well. But remember, we need to face reality. So before we go far, or before I throw the questions, because I do. Any of you, can you please just give an overview? What you understand about what I just mentioned? Anything before we go? Because remember, we need an overview what we're talking about. Because you can't just go escaping or emotweni or taxing ungazi ukuthi iyaphi. Kumele wazi ukuthi le taxi lena ingisa eSoshanguve, ingisa eGarankuwa, ingisa main lane. So any of you, please.
You know, I'll say, from what you're saying, from what you're saying, really, I'd like to think a lot of people were affected in different ways by apartheid. You know, I mean, this was a system that was based on segregation and really putting down the human rights of a certain group of people. Basically, that. So a lot of people, some people within the country feel that, you know, it's apartheid was a while back and we need to get over it. People need to get over it, but. I mean, how Yakumaka Sinko, the townshipping, you can see the effects, the bitter after effects of that system. That legacy is still there. And it's going to be it's going to take a lot for us to, it's going to take a lot.
Over to you, your understanding what we're talking about today.
Yeah, well, the effects of apartheid, and basically, we're seeing them in how fractured our society is today, you know, and I guess that's the legacy of apartheid. So,
okay,
yeah, I'm excited to discuss that.
Over to you, ma'am.
Ngiyavumelana no Budi. I guess my understanding of the effects of apartheid are the fact that we are still ill. Sisagula, physically. Sisagula mentally, sisagula spiritually.
Wow. Nizwile ke bachazile ukuthi sisagula. Angeke ngihambe kakhulu ngoba sekashilo kodwa uqinisile sisagula. And uchazile Tshekedi ukuthi umuhamba kwamanye amakhathi you can still see ukuthi yabona ukuthi we are still there, which is true. And it's sad. So now, business of the day. How is the food before I go? Today in papers, guys. Papers.
I was just telling everyone, being a bachelor, food like this, you don't really get to see all the time on a Sunday. I try ama noodles.
I'm also a bachelor.
Noodles on Sunday. Noodles silly, but again, Liviana, which
Whether you are still at school when Namos. Most of my noodles and Vianas, those are the things. This one of these shops that's selling food and get those tomato sauce. Then you put it there. Anyway.
I can't remember the last time I had noodles.
Okay, let's come here. Okay, guys, I heard you. Now I want you guys to go deeper. I want to understand, how did apartheid affected people's life then and now? Here we talk about present and past. Why I'm saying this? Remember you mentioned you mentioned and then we see different things. So I know then we might not be able to dwell, but what I can say, it will be easy for us when we start there and then now, because I don't think we can start now and go there. So I want to understand, because it's families. How?
Well, I mean, the main thing about the apartheid system was that it just entrenched a whole lot of tribalism. So now families, right, could not develop and grow in the way in which they would naturally grow and develop, because one would want to stick within their certain tribe, you know. So if you look Emalokshin, like Soshanguve, it's the Sotho section, the Shangan section, the Nguni section, the Venda section, and all the schools. You understand? All the schools that are in the Venda section, the medium of instruction is Venda. So all the kids within that area, they are supposed to, you know, basically play amongst their own tribe. Okay. And then the Afrikaner kids, they stay in the Afrikaner townships, or in the Afrikaner suburbs, right? And then they mix with their own Afrikaner tribes. The English people mix with the English people. The Indians mix with the Indians. The Coloureds mix with the Coloureds. So everything was divided into tribes.
Then.
Completely.
Even now.
And we still see that tribal division because we've internalized it. After the system had been with us for so long, you still see people, like, from my perspective, because I'm a Tsonga speaker, ne? Okay. Us as Tsongas, we're part of the minority tribal groups. Okay. So I felt a lot of tribalism growing up, within even my own family, because my mother's side of the family, they are Xhosa. Okay. So growing up, you'd hear a whole lot of jokes about amashangani and all that types of things, and those things like would really hurt one. And because number one, I'd be thinking to myself, yeah, my father is a Tsonga man, and you know, these are my own family members that are saying this about my own father and myself and all of us, you know. And so that sort of internalized tribalism is something that we still deal with to this day.
Okay, I want to ask you something before I go to Gogo. So, will you agree with me when I say to you, apartheid iqala kuthina emndenini yethu? Because I remember we've got this thing, apartheid is in laba bamhlophe or color, you understand? No. So, will you agree with me when I said, let's move away from that and deal with ours? Like, excuse me, you did mention siakula. So, will you agree with me? Because I think now we've got a way now where we are going with this, and I'm loving it. You understand?
I fully agree with you, because apartheid starts within certain families, because we want to keep things within our family, to protect our family's values, to protect our family's traditions, and then we extend that into our clans. And then we extend our clans into our tribes. So we keep things within our tribes and we limit it within our tribes. And we don't want to mix our tribe's cultures with another tribe's cultures, because we feel like, you know, either there'll be a contest and one will be then proved to be superior or inferior. So that inferiority complex of not wanting to come into contact with other people's tribes and cultures prevents us from learning about others and also makes us hold on to our traditions in a violent manner, where we want to dominate others so that we can suppress their cultures and traditions.
Okay, let's hear you.
Yeah, I just want to jump onto that and say I think that the main goal of apartheid was to break down the black family. Okay. So that's why Nota is speaking about the fact that asifuna ukumixa or silwa sisodwa emakhaya, because I think that was the point of apartheid.
Okay.
To push down the black person, to push down the black man, to make sure that the family structure is fractured, because kwakungafuneki abantu abamnyama abaqinile.
Okay.
So because abafuneki abaqinile, what was the point? To break them down.
To make them fight and do all
Exactly.
these things. Okay.
Divide and conquer.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, fine. On that point, because you all speaking the same language, but a different explanation. What is it? I'm there. You understand? On what I just said. Yini lena edinga ukwenziwa. Because he mentioned tribe, you mentioned ukuthi the whole purpose of the apartheid was to break a black person. I'm not going to say a black man. You understand? So what is it that a gap? I'm talking about the gap now. Remember, kuna my gaps. Before you do something, you see a gap, and then you put yourself in that thing.
You know, I think one of the only ways to try and solve this is to have kids with different tribes. Look at me. Okay. Look at me.
I agree. I'm half Xhosa, half Tsonga.
My one son is half Zulu. The other one is half Venda, you know. And even Tswana, you know, this was, you know, proud Tswana type vibes, you know.
How are your sons different halves?
Yeah, I mamela batsadi, so beketsama ke rotetsa peo.
When I know you.
But now I'm okay. Shapo, hallelujah, rababo, shikara, shapo, raka, rabo, bobo. Yeah, I'm celibate to a certain degree, but
you only use your right hand.
Yeah, at times my left, yeah, you know, when I'm feeling explorative. But you know that for me.
For on that, you know, I used to love you at school.
Oh yeah.
I really wanted to date you at school.
But yeah, I know we went to school together. But
You like that's me. You like you know I love them skinny. So by the way, back to the business of the day.
I knew where to put myself in the seating arrangement.
or me talking about kids just broke patterns. So you know, I was saying my first kid, Kano, wonderful young boy. He's half Venda and everything. You know, when I told my grandmom and everything, they want some. Hey, that's what they say. I was like, and I actually, you know, I'll put this in a joke as well. One of my jokes as a comedian to say, guys, you know, we need to really interact with one another. If anything, have kids with other people. But it's scary. Lena, I was scared as well for my Venda baby mama. You know what I mean? Like a friend of mine would call me like, yo, Tshekedi, let's go out. And I was like, no, my man, we can't go out. I'm with my Venda baby mama and my Venda baby can't go. My friend be on some, man, sharp, who's the man in the relationship? They go, no, tapelo sharp. Get another man in the relationship. Maramo Venda ki man. Mo relationship in my man, you know, so even my kid crying, you know, I was scared. What if my kid doesn't cry like normal kids, you know, and my Venda boy doesn't cry like, what if my kid cries like a Venda boy, like, baby, just, sorry, maintenance, sharp. So it's one of those, I think I try to, not really that class division, or rather that cultural division, I try to put it into my jokes, you know, to try and give people other perspectives, you know. It's just one of those, let's learn other people's languages, especially Batswana, Bakochai. I know Batswana, Bakochai, Banale this pride. You know, you know what I mean, stuff like that.
I think all the cultures.
Yeah, all the cultures have got their own thingamajig, have got their own like superstitions about other tribes, right? But the Vendas and the Tsongas, us from Limpopo, we get the shortest end of the stick. So growing up, obviously, the Xhosa side of the family, as the side that I inherited my personality from.
Yeah, I was going there. Mina, I thought
can see
you
that
talk about
very
Limpopo
far.
now,
No, this is-
and Mina, I'm seeing Nota from somewhere.
I can't even do this. You understand? I can't. So I've got the Xhosa side of my family in my mouth. You understand? That's why I always talk a lot. You know. So yeah.
Do you have a BEE deal yet?
So,
Okay, let me.
be what?
BEE deal because it's Xhosa, you know. Oh, okay.
Over to you. I thought you wanted to say something.
Not really, but I can. Because your initial question was, how do we fix it?
Yes.
From what I understood that you were
Yeah,
saying.
because why that question is because of what you guys gave me. Remember, Guti, you gave me something, then I will ask, because here we are here to heal those broken people. Yes, we might not be able to heal everybody, but there is one person, because the aim is to heal that one person or two.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, now that you're speaking about healing, as ugogo, a lot of abantu that come to me, banamadlozi akhalayo. The ancestors are crying. So I mean, a lot of things happened. The apartheid, a lot of our ancestors, bafea somewhere, they weren't buried properly. So there's also implications. Uguti khona amadlozi angabekwanga kahle ekhaya. A lot of the women were raped by white men. Idlozi liyabuya lizokhala. A lot of our men bashone emayinini abangcwatshwanga kahle, abahlanganiswanga namadlozi akubo. So one way that I say I can work, especially about healing, is ukuthi ulalise kahle abangalele kahle. What happens then when you have an ancestor that is crying? It's something that they call generational trauma. So even us, sikuliswa ileli dlozi elikhalayo. So we need to lay idlozi to rest, appease idlozi, sixolise edlozini, and in many ways sigeze igazi lethu. So that I think that's why I began by saying,
So we can heal.
We're ill. The way for us to heal is to heal those that are. No, you can't.
You can't.
Zimbabwe. Have you seen what is happening in Zimbabwe? It's because they haven't healed the past wounds of what happened in the massacres. They've got blood on their hands as a people. And what that does is that it takes away your humanity. So if you're not doing isiko lakho to bury your people, then you've discarded them like an animal. And then what that does, right, is that is your own blood that you've discarded like an animal, which means that now your blood that is inside you becomes an animal blood. And then you see another human being, right, who's also got blood as animal blood, and therefore you don't respect their life, you don't value them anymore. And that's what corrupts our culture. That's why we see so many rapes, so many murders. It's not because we are just violent. It's just when we see each other, we don't see the humanity, because we haven't done what it takes to actually give the respect and the humanity for our dead. We haven't acknowledged them, because you find a lot of people that are celebrated, especially our black people, our black heroes, the people that we celebrate are people that we celebrate when they're dead. We celebrate Solomon Mahlangu, but that's a man who never lived to see his youth ending. He never lived to see his children growing, or you understand, something like that. So he's a man who was cut out from what was rightfully his, what was given to him, life,
The gift of life.
And I wanted to go like what you are saying now. That's a very, very, very important point you just raised. And why I'm saying, you spoke about Zimbabwe, what's happening now. We are heading there in our country.
Yeah, we can see it.
And why I'm saying that, I'm just going to make an example, Marikana.
Exactly. We still haven't forgiven ourselves.
You understand?
No one's been held accountable.
Right,
and those were
now,
people.
We are just pretending as if everything is okay because of our own selfish reasons.
I want to ask, how many people passed away, were killed, Kashabville? 60 something, compared to.
Yes.
I mean, that's now there's 30 something people in the new dispensation.
But it's not just Marikana. There was a student strike in Braamfontein, and even one guy got killed there. So it's not about the number of people that are dying. It's just that when people are upset about certain things and they raise their voices, they're being killed. And then that death is not even acknowledged. Upegitsele is going to come to the family for a couple of minutes, and then after that he's gone. They're going to talk about it on the news, and then we move on, and then we're going to be shown another black body, and another black body, and another black body, and then these are just black bodies. They're no longer black humans.
Thank you so much. Nibazwileke bachazile, and as I've said, whatever that we are talking about today, anyway, you all know Munches and Thoughts. We go in and in and in. So yeah, so be ready, because that's why it's called Munches and Thoughts. As you can see, they are munching. But thank you so much. I'm closing this now. I'm going to the second point. Okay, I'm so glad we've got a teacher here, but we are all teachers because we are all given different things to go out and teach about. How did apartheid affect our students? I don't want to say then, because we all know then, but we can still put that. I just want now. Remember, Uguti, you just mentioned something. All of you, the things I'm asking, they link. You understand? He spoke about outside. You spoke about healing, something very important. He spoke about ikati, where things are not the same. We also spoke about a division of cultures. So now I want to understand, you are a teacher. We went to school. We went to school, all of us here. It might be any school, but we saw different things. And we are living in the country or in a community where we still see our students, we still see abantwana bethu, we still go to school as well. So I just want to understand on that, based on apartheid. Like, please, guys.
Yeah. Well, I think most importantly, it affected like the way in which students socialize. Because I went to UJ for a bit, and on the lawns, the Indian kids would sit on one side, the white kids would sit on the other side. You know, so you still have those divisions. And from a cultural perspective as well, you know, what it has done is that it has entrenched itself, because the way our schooling system was designed was for the apartheid system to continue even after, you know, the laws have been repealed. So the apartheid laws are gone, but the system still perpetuates itself, because in South Africa, we created the apartheid culture.
Okay. Okay.
You have to choose.
Anyway, we sorry to disturb you.
Well, I'll speak from my perspective. And when I see myself standing in front of a class of 400, fortunately, in Internalized is Uguti, now it's half-half. Before you would go into an auditorium, you would see mainly white faces with those black faces here and there. But at least I think that's getting better, Shem. That I can say. However, being a black woman, teaching students, I almost need to work twice as hard. I remember I'm always told, no, when you introduce yourself, tell them that you're a doctor, tell them that you study in New York. And I'm like, but why do I need to do that? Because I need to prove myself to the people that maybe don't look like me and wouldn't listen to me. And even within the class as well. So I teach about the health system. So even in the class, you see the ones that I will call the haves, looking at the have-nots when we're speaking about accessing health in the public sector. To the point then where you ask questions, obviously the people that have medical aid won't be able to answer the questions because it's not their experience. But then the people that don't have medical aid are scared to respond because then it singles them out. I don't know if I'm making sense. As the poorer kids, and you see those dynamics play out. When you're teaching, okay, actually, we say that apartheid is finished. I don't know that it is.
And how are those then students supposed to use this institution to collaborate and contribute to, breaking down the divisions amongst us? Because that is actually what the purpose of the university is that all the best minds from all our schools congregate together to add, knowledge to our country.
Because genuinely, when you think about it, Khonano, in terms of schools and other institutions as well, the apartheid has gone from just being black people are sort of gunned down and put down. It's become a class thing. It's really become the haves and the have-nots. That's the new apartheid. Yeah, those are the new tribes.
Because we speak the same language.
That's the new, yes. Yeah,
Wow. It's living in an amazing country. I will say that.
The rainbow apartheid. You can't tell which color it will be, but you'll know that there are some colors that are more equal than others.
It's so wrong. But you just mentioned something very important. I'll pick when you spoke about the medical aid and non-medical aid. I was just going to talk about where we work in the corporate world. You can tell when someone doesn't have. Remember, we sit Koban canteen and then having food. It's like that, guys.
You guys work in corporate. Yo, I don't know. Like what corporate? And you smile.
And then I remember one of my colleague. That's at the time. He talks so much.
Is it a friend or a frenemy?
No, it's a colleague. No, it's a colleague. It's a colleague. So I'm just telling you what happened. So there's this. It's a colleague, and then one of our colleagues was sick. So this one coming to my office. Phathanani, hey, we're looking for this person. Went to play pastor. Met for a moment. On the notes, I was just talking. So thank you guys.
Doesn't he have medical? Why doesn't he have medical?
No, I actually know that situation. So I was once in a car accident when I was still very young, and I had medical aid, right? But the cops found me, and they told my dad that they're going to take me to a hospital. And then he searched all the private clinics, didn't find me. I ended up waking up at what is it, Charlotte? Joburg Gen. I ended up waking up there, thinking to myself, what happened to me? And then I overheard people wheeling me around saying MVA. So I figured it must be motor vehicle accidents. And then I called my dad. I was like, yo, I'm at Joburg Gen. He sent an ambulance to take me to Olivedale.
But unfortunately, this one didn't have.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think I heard you guys on that one. I think we can, because I just wanted to hear your input, your understanding. Unless before I close the point, is anything that you guys want to say?
I think overall, I can also say then that even economically, we are still suffering the effects of apartheid as far as our socio-economic status is.
Okay. Oh well, so please. But okay, now guys, thank you so much. Okay, I want to understand. I'm going to churches. What your thoughts? This is Manchester and thoughts. Your thoughts. So whoever that is watching, please. Your thoughts.
Justin.
What role did you think churches played with apartheid and now?
I think churches play a role of suppressing certain emotions and the anger of certain people. Like there's certain ways in which churches can use the Bible, because obviously I grew up in a Christian household, can use the Bible to...
Are you still a Christian?
Well, I follow the Christian Bible.
No. Are you still a
but
Christian?
I believe in God. I don't believe in religion.
No, you're not answering me.
Christianity is a religion, so I don't believe in religion.
Nota.
No, I'm not
answering me.
I wouldn't say I'm a Christian. I believe in God.
He's a Notarian.
Nota the good deeds.
Yeah.
Are you a
No,
Christian?
I'm not a Christian.
Thank you. Then go on.
Yeah.
Carry on with your statement.
I believe in God. I read the Bible, right? But why I don't identify with the Christian church is that the religion itself, right, depending on who's at the head of that certain church at that time, that certain congregation at that time, can use the word of God to suppress people. So we have the same Bible, whether you go to the NG Kerk, which is preaching to the Afrikaners about how they were destined to do great things and how God brought them to this land for them to prosper. And then you've got the same Bible that is then used to preach Ewesile. And that Bible is then used to tell black people how their suffering was ordained by God and that they should continue to endure and that He will reward them in the afterlife. And that is basically the role, the two roles that I've seen with the Bible, as in or religion. The one religion was made to make people accept apartheid and normalize it, and the other was then made to encourage people to take advantage of apartheid and thrive from it.
We had two.
Yeah.
Wow. You say, sir?
Definitely, I go with Nota. I also believe in God. I believe Modimu Mbami as well.
So you're not a Christian?
Remember
what he said? They are totally different. Remember, he just explained it very well.
Well, you know what? I wouldn't want to be put in a class where you're a Christian, you're not Christian, because of expectations.
You're already putting yourself.
I believe in God. I believe Modimu Mbami. I believe in the Christ consciousness. What I don't believe in is that guy who looks like a surfer dude who's gonna save my life, you know? Hey dude, after hanging from the cross, we're gonna go save lives. So I don't believe that. I don't think there's that kind of...
Asian white guy.
And imagine a guy like that. Do you think he would put himself on the cross? He would say,
Thank you so much. Thank you, Nyaman. Over to you.
So, yes, I agree.
Okay.
I agree with what the gentlemen have said, but I also think at the time, the church was a place of healing.
Yeah.
Was a place where people could go, bayotandaza, bayocula, bayoreleasa the frustrations that they were feeling, that they couldn't necessarily express on a day-to-day basis. Similarly today as well, I do think that for those that believe in going to church and those that do go to church, I still think it's a place of healing for them.
But is now, I'm just asking, any of you can answer, but just finish up. I think I must ask this question when you're done.
I think it is a place of community for people that maybe feel isolated or that they feel alone. I mean, I know my mother, and when I came into my consciousness, when I came into my woke self, I wanted them to stop going to church because I thought, no, seriously, you know.
I understand your own wokeness, Mara. Now to tell your mother to stop, right?
Exactly. So I stopped questioning because the point was.
I understand, but to stop your mother from going on top of that.
Yeah, no, you question. Ma, lento yakho eBhayibheli, hayibo, uNkulunkulu, ma. So we would have those kinds of conversations because obviously there was a lot of questioning happening in me.
I guess, yeah.
However, I stopped when I saw Uguti. No, it's almost like my mother needs this place. Washonelwa ubaba, and the church for her became a place where even if I'm a widow, but I still feel needed. I still feel wanted. I still have agency. And I would imagine for most of Mama Betu.
So if I may say, Wabana, that's where the crux is. It's about community and everything. It's about being together, making each other feel loved. Not necessarily that religious aspect. We had that already as Africans. And then these guys identified them and went, let's put a religion onto it. Just like when the Nicene Creed, when it came up as well. Actually, this is tangenting, but you know, back in the day, before Christianity was Christianity, there was the Nicene Creed, where in Rome, there were different demigods. And then Constantine said, okay, let's take that woman, the god of fertility, or whatever, we'll call her Mother Mary. Let's take this, we'll call him Saint Paul. So they put names to something that had already existed within us as Africans. Bo to bo, leather togetherness. That thing.
And then to add to what she just said, because you know, I had a grandmother who was very religious, and then she abandoned her religion right at the end when cancer got the worst of her. You know, so the community is one part of the thing, but also the tribalism also comes from the church as well, because we must remember that there is no such thing as Zulu people, Xhosa people, Ndebele people, Swati people. They're all Nguni people. And the reason why they were divided is because they were all given different Bibles, which were translated into this Zulu language, Xhosa, and whatever, by the missions. So the role of religion also helped create tribes, because they wanted to now say, okay, fine, we're indoctrinating you into this belief system, right? Because your system has got an oratory tradition and it's not written down. And if it's not written down, if all of you die because of a famine or a disease or something like that, then all of your traditions will be lost. So you need to at least have a book where you can keep your traditions and your faith. And here's a book.
But they created those traditions for them.
Well, the Christianity itself, if we go to the actual beginnings of Christianity, it comes from Central West Africa, from the Dogon people. That's the origins of Christianity. This is before the pyramids in Egypt and all our African traditions. And all of this culture, by the time it got to Europe, right, had already been established and entrenched in Africa. So when it comes back again, that's why it's something that we are so willing to accept, because it aligns with already the traditions that we already had, because it comes from us originally.
And just to say, with what you're saying with tribalism, I think the SABC is still keeping on the tribalism. For instance, you guys are Nguni, right? So I call you guys SABC 1. Or when we're SABC 2, you guys know. And then of course there's this house belongs to an SABC 3 person.
Like this generation, like this now, I want to understand the gap between the rich, poor, and unemployment. Now I'm here now.
Okay.
Now I'm here now. The gap, poor, rich, unemployment. Now I'm here. Remember when we started this, I started apartheid then, now. Now I am here, but you're still going back then, because I'm talking about the poor, unemployment, and the rich. Of course, apartheid is the star of the dish. That's why I'm in the EP truth. To be different, darlings. Yes.
Man, I'd like to say now, from what I'm seeing, sure, back in the day, it seemed like we were all in one pot, as black people, and then one or two maponya and whatnot, But now it's we don't have a common enemy. So it's literally and you can see the poverty wealth division just grow and grow and grow all the time.
So what are you saying? Then, please correct me. So are you saying to me, then we were all in the same pot? So which means we were safe.
We were all poor. We were equal.
Yes, that's where I'm going. Yes, you are right.
It felt like
so
I could get help from next
listen
door.
to me when I'm saying, so we are all safe.
Safe from what?
It seemed.
Or we were all in danger. All in the same
Yeah, you can say all danger or
Yeah,
safe, but
yeah.
I get it. That's how I'm putting it.
Yeah.
When I put it the way when
Okay, yeah.
So because he just said then, like Omaponya, but now it's like you are on your own, boss. If you can survive tomorrow with food on your table, harder. If you can't, oh, sorry for you.
Get that tender. That's why you see
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
the corruption spilling out, because it's I'm saving mine. I'm saving myself and mine.
So now it's all
We don't
about
care.
you.
It
It's
has
all about
become that way.
individuals.
We don't
Which
have
I
a
do
common
agree with
enemy.
him, but I wanted to understand.
We've become less community based, and we've become more individualistic, and we've become more Americanized, and that is the American tradition. So like, let's think about this. When I don't know at what age you guys went to the same school, but I'm sure when you had your first wet dream, you had an uncle who was younger than your parents who could tell you or explain it about you. Now, when you have children, do they have aunts and uncles that can explain their wet dreams to them? Do you understand what I'm saying? And that's why the children of today are now relying on their friends. They're watching pornography and all these types of things, because there's no generational households or multi-generational households where they can learn certain skills from people at certain ages, because kids learn from other kids who learn from bigger kids who then learn from adults who take everything they know from the grandparents.
What's the cause of that now? I'm just
It's
asking.
it's because we become individuals. We stay in Guma townhouse, right? Any townhouse, what does it say? It says when you're working at such and such a corporation.
Why do we call it this? We call it No, it's not. It's
Lock up
sectional
and go.
titles. It's
Yes,
not
all of
external
this.
titles.
Yes, exactly. Sectional titles, all of that stuff. These are not conducive to having kids or families. You understand? So you cannot live with your grandparents. Now, instead of gini, nake, knowing that, okay, we've got a big house, we've got kids, now we're going to build a bigger house so that when we have children, they live here with their grandparents and us here within the same house, like Amandia do. We don't do that, and they're still continuing with that. And what we are saying is that in the Indian communities, they still have their family values, but in the black communities, we've got no family values whatsoever.
Okay, I want to ask you something before I go to Gogo. What do you think it needs to be done? I'm going to a point, abantwana, which is true, Nota. We can't run away from that. We can't run away from truth. Because the moment we're running away from truth, which means we don't know where we are going, even if we are trying to build, we are just wasting time. So your own advice or your own say, like, what do you think it needs to be done? Remember, it's something that we wish for.
Yeah.
Some of the things might not come true, but at least it's a birthday. Wish it.
We need to redefine updota, because I think that is what we've lost in society.
We need to redefine updota.
Yeah.
That's your say.
Yes.
Why all updota?
Because if we redefine updota, right, then we're actually now saying that updota was the most under attack under the apartheid system. In terms of it bore the brunt of the violence, right? Because that is where they saw the strength, they perceived strength, right? And they tried to weaken that in every way, shape or form. And what that did is that it made that omama need to overcompensate. And let me put it to you in this instance, right? When you get stopped by the cops, are you going to give them a lot of mouth? No, you're a black man. But when you're with your sister, who's in the car, you know that you have to tell her, Tula.
Because
she'll have lived.
That's true. Thank you so much. To you, Gogo Nombala.
I think, as I say, one of the things that the system of apartheid had to do, was keep black people their parts, economically as well. So, lento eshiwo bhuti ukuthi now it's every man for himself, because we were without for so long that nami, if I get a piece of the pie, I'm gonna make sure that I want 2 pieces and 3. Every man for himself. But lento ubona kakhulu, I'm now speaking about the poverty and the unemployment thing. Ubona kakhulu, unfortunately, emalokishini.
Yes,
you know,
yes, that's true. I think he did mention when we started,
there are no opportunities.
Okay, Steve, you know what you just said, Gogo. I love it. It's to my second point. Well, or before you say.
Look, Mina, all the opportunities that I've had in my career came when I was sleeping on a couch, Ekas. I had to leave the suburbs where I was raised, and then I went to Ekasi where all the opportunities were, because there were no opportunities in the suburbs. And I think that another thing that we've lost out on as black people is to actually understand our economic value. So what apartheid did is that it stripped us from our knowledge of our economic value. As a white person in this country, right, you can't make music that the whole country will love. Why? Because most people don't speak your language. You know, they're not in your culture, they're not in your community. You need to make something that appeals to black people. So if you're going to create a product in this country, whether it's this Arabella wine, unless you're selling it to black people, you're not going to make money. You know, so in this country, right, we have the economic power because we are the people that are the target market for everything.
But you just mentioned the wine. I've got friends who've got wines, but because they saw the channel was still, they're now like, give me your product, let me have it here. And then they don't, our brothers and sisters, they don't want to give and say, I pay to do this. And there is no way I'll have your product here. Yes, you have a product in a shop. I'm not going to buy it. And I spoke to you, I asked you.
It's because they don't know the economic value. Now, what I'm trying to tell you is this, that they don't know, you guys, both of you actually don't know your combined economic value. Because if you are unable to communicate with them and convince them how this can be mutually beneficial, you also lose. You understand what I'm saying?
I do.
So we
Even
need to now
I feel sorry for myself.
Maybe your proposal was not.
The way he's saying it now.
change our culture as black people to say, like, listen, we actually need to collaborate, because the one thing that we're not missing is that us not collaborating means we all are suffering. All of us are suffering. You know what I mean? Because one of us is good now, and then and then and then and then, you know what I mean?
Okay, now I want to go here. I want to go some of the things, because when you talk, I listen. Like, that's the chef. That's why I'm artistic in the kitchen. Even I'm different from anybody. That's one thing I know. I'm going to you and you and you. You spoke about poverty, it's mostly emakati. When he starts, he spoke about emakati, if you remember. And then now he's speaking about economy. The value and the kati economy. And when you said the poor, I want to go, if you guys checked what I sent you, I mentioned GPV. Now, tell me, we've got a lot of GBV cases that are coming out every single day in our country. And because remember, we need to reason at the same time, guys. We can't just, when something come on board, then that's it. We need to reason. I think that's when we're missing. We're not saying we're promoting all these things that are happening, but we should be given a chance to stay our truth. When you said poverty, it's mostly in our communities. It's up to you whether you agree or disagree with me. Will you agree with me with the GBV? It's mostly in the richest of the richest, or those who've got money, and those who are trying, or those abathanda izinto. I'm not saying Guti, when they are finding themselves in the situation, I will say, no. Remember, here we are talking, we are giving our input. Because why I'm saying this, most of the time, if you can check the background of victims, it's different from a cat. It's just, that's me.
The ones that we're seeing now in the media, let's just say.
Yes, that's where I'm going.
I
because at the end, guys, if we don't stand the truth, we will never go far. So I'm not saying let's agree what I'm saying. I just want to understand you guys, your take on what I'm saying about. Hence, you mentioned, because what we said with the poverty, it's true. And we all see that, but we don't talk about it.
The problem in this country is that the law, right, is only to police the poor. So if you look at the role of the police was to stop the violence from the township coming into the suburbs.
Yes.
So it's to police the poor. Those are the people that we police. Those are the crime stats that we see, because those are the people that get arrested by the cops. The people who've got access to money, the law doesn't apply to them, and that's why they get away with so many abuses, and they end up getting caught because they get away with so much impunity that they feel like they are untouchable. And then eventually one thing then comes out, and a scandal comes out, and we hear some rich, powerful man either sexually abused or beat up some woman who was obviously poorer or less influential or less powerful than him, you know. And we see the gender-based violence happening mostly with these power imbalances in the relationships. You understand? Because, like I told you before, what the system has done is that it's made us dehumanize one another. You understand? So now that I'm of the higher class, right, of the one who's got money, I can now see myself as higher than a woman who maybe doesn't come from a family with money or anything else. And now I entitle myself to feeling more human than she is. But the one thing that I cannot change is that as much money as you can make, you'll always be a black man. And the racism is still over and above the tribalism. Racism is a global phenomenon. You understand what I'm saying? And even if you get to the point where you've got this money and power, there's going to come a certain limit that your skin color brings you to, and then that might make you then project and dehumanize other people and want to be abusive to other people and want to dominate them. And you know, you see that in the abuse that
Gogo Nombala. Gogo Nombala, anything you wanna say?
I don't know that I agree that
Yeah.
GBV is more rampant amongst rich people.
Okay.
I don't know that I agree. I think just across the board, right? Because
Okay, sorry. Before you go there, I think I'm trying to say it's more exposed. What we see now in social medias are those like
If you see all the cases, you're not
rare.
hearing about some
That's
lady
what I'm
in
saying.
a shack
I'm not saying
or
it's
a
only there.
Okay.
It's all over.
But what as far as exposure.
Yeah. So what I'm talking about exposure, most of the cases that we see are those well-known people. Those, maybe some of them, they are in certain entertainment or whatsoever.
Yeah.
But and I was going to when you said poor. Most emakat. So my question is a follow-up of what you've said, Mina, but I'm coming at gender-based. No, gender-based is all over. Okay. That's why we can't take it away.
I misunderstood.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Then no, I don't have anything to say about
Okay. No. Gender-based is everywhere. Because it's been there even against Kanzabu, It's just that they never expose it. So now I wanted to understand why, because most of the cases, guys, if you check, but you already explained what's the reason. Is those people there?
Yeah.
And then you find what's abantwana abancane. Or from
the girls,
with these people. You understand? So that's where I wanted to understand why gender-based my case kuba exposed laba abantu aba-rich mara umagziwa ku-unemployment rate yilaba basemakati because that's what we're going through.
No, then I agree with Nota.
Okay.
Now that I understand.
The power dynamics, they add to another gender-based violence, and those people, their wealth. I also agree with you as well, not genuinely so.
Yeah, I'm sure you even get it in corporates as well.
Yeah, we get it everywhere.
Because not everybody gets investigated.
No. It's sad. It's sad. Okay, so now, guys, I want to rebuilding our broken families. Rebuilding our broken family, because our families are broken, guys. We can, and then the sad part is now which we're using money to hide those scars.
You just said it. You see it at the funerals.
Yeah.
The bigger the funerals, the bigger the scars.
Yeah. You know what's happening? If ungazi ukuthi like ngishonelwe, ne, and the mangishonelwe ekhaya and I was not doing anything. So what I will do, I will go and bathini in English. Renovate. Yes. Because I don't want you guys to see this chef. Every day, we are driver, we don't get a pen wherever he works. But now, at home it's bad. But I also think it's because of the scars we're going through. But anyway, let's go there. It's for you guys.
You're asking us how we rebuild broken families.
Yeah, I get it now. We spoke about so many things. Now let's rebuild. How? How can... Remember, it's wishes, the things that we're talking about, guys.
I was speaking with a friend of mine. She's been on this platform before. She's also a...
Nhlama.
Yes.
Nhlama is my person. Hi, Nhlama. We love you so much.
She's also a spiritualist. She's been to Hogwarts. You know Hogwarts? You know Hogwarts? You know the reference when I say Hogwarts? Yeah, she's been to Hogwarts as well. So she's a spiritualist as well. She was telling me, my dad, there was a divorce and everything. And ever since the relationship between my dad and I, it fizzled like one of those effervescent things. So as a result, I've got sons now. The same ones that disappointed Phathanani a minute ago.
I was disappointed. So now you're going to rub that on me. Tshekedi, don't do that.
So I'm doing my
We are good friends. So please.
So, that relationship with my father, these relationships that I have with my sons, but I'm trying to merge I think, to answer your question, I think there's no There's no holistic, this is how we get families together. It's a very individual thing. It's a very personal thing. It's a very, I need to speak with my father and say, hey man, you know, I've grown up to this much, to this age, and I feel you were not there. You know, I'm angry about it. I forgive you about it. Let's start hanging out. You know what I mean? Let's start hanging out. At a shebe ball or whatever. You know, it needs to start kanna. There's no, kumbaya. Yeah, we don't. There is no magical wand. It needs to be when in your life. How can I be the person who makes sure that our family gets together? Wow. How can I be that way? That's the only way.
That's
otherwise,
can I tell you my observation from being with women?
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe you might not have as much experience.
No, I won't. But are you planning to be with a man?
No, not at all.
No, I just wanted to know.
Because when you started
my observation
being with women.
Yeah,
like dating women.
It's like now you are planning to change and enter my team, which you are more than welcome. I'm joking.
No, so just from women that I've ever courted, dated, and everything else, right? Like I realized that I've got a talent for attracting women with daddy issues. Number one,
daddy issues,
right?
Wow,
and that observation made me feel like the most important thing that we need to address are the daddy issues that we have in our society. And not to say that no, there are no toxic mothers or what to say, you know what I mean? Because we've got so much daddy issues. We've got a lot of mothers who are doing roles that they shouldn't be doing. So now, when we've got these bipolar mothers, right, who are doing roles that they shouldn't be doing, right, we shouldn't now condemn them. We should actually address what is causing this, and that is the daddy issues that we have as a society. And my own daddy issues were resolved by my grandfather when I was still a child. You know, I met my grandfather only once, and my grandfather and my father had a fallout because my grandfather didn't believe that women need to be colonized with education, because at that point in time, his understanding when education was being introduced was that it was taking us away from our traditions. And as Tsonga people, the people that hold on to our traditions, right, are the women. So that's why unamashangani in this world, because when the Zulus came to the Tsonga tribe that they conquered, which had Tsonga speakers inside, the women would not assimilate to the culture because the women are the gatekeepers of the culture in our tradition. And that's why Amashangani speaks Tsonga instead of speaking isiZulu. Yeah. So from that encounter with my grandfather, where number one, I was seeing him in secret, and number two, he was telling me about my father. He said, if you grow up to be half the man your father is, you'll be a great man. And I thought to myself, how?
Your grandfather?
Yes, he said that to me. Okay. And I was like, but you don't even speak to my dad. I'm not even allowed to say your name in his house or anything else. And what my grandfather was trying to do was break a generational curse, because he didn't want...
Your grandfather?
Yes, he didn't want me to judge my father and his shortcomings.
That's beautiful.
Right? The same way my father judged my grandfather for his shortcomings. You understand what I'm saying? And that's broke the generational curse. So even when I left home at 19 and I wasn't speaking to my father, like, we didn't speak for a long time until he saw me on TV winning summers. You know?
Sorry, Nota, where's your father now?
Is at home.
Are you guys fine?
Yeah, no, we're good. We're good. No, he was giving me tough love.
Okay, proceed. Just wanted to understand that.
He was giving me tough. I didn't want to study. I wanted to pursue music. You understand? Okay. So he only started speaking to me after winning summer awards, when I had actually achieved what I was trying to do. We actually started having a relationship.
Then he started talking to
Now we started having a proper relationship, and then I could tell him that, listen, this is the conversation I had with my grandfather, and this. Now we've got a proper relationship.
So were you angry at him?
Yes.
And then did you? I'm asking this because of what you said, the daddy issues. So I just want to understand.
Work on those daddy issues.
Did you, after, because remember you were not talking to your father, and then your father saw you winning a summer award, and then your father now starting to
accept
because remember when now you already won your summer or whatever achievement, let me say summer, and then now you're seeing someone coming. I don't think you'll accept that well. You were not there, and then now because there is an award or whatever coming, and then when now you wanna be visible.
No, my father was always there. There was never a point. the only time where my father, right, cut me off, where our communication was when I decided that I'm leaving home at 19 after high school. I decided I did not want to live under his rules and his roof anymore. I need to go find my own place to stay. And he said, go out, fend for yourself. And for me, obviously, I'm growing up in Four Ways, which is a nice part of town. All the other kids, they're given their first cars, they're going to varsities, they've all got rich parents who do everything for them. My father gave me tough love and said, if you want to do your own thing and you don't want to go to UCT or WITS and study, where I'm willing to pay, then you must fend for yourself.
You are a man now, and you are doing very well for yourself.
And
anyway,
and I still respect him. You understand what I'm saying? So we were able to fix those daddy issues, and those daddy issues mean that our relationship now, just as father and son, strengthens our knowledge of my role as a soon-to-be father or a head of a household, because he's able to teach me directly.
Wow, that's beautiful. Gogo?
I think I agree with Uputi when he says there is no one way that's going to be a miracle that's going to work for everyone. I think it's individual, like you were saying. I do, however, believe Uguti, it might be worth our while to start and cleanse our blood of those generational curses, of those generational traumas. As maybe if it would be my first step, and then individual people need to do their thing. They just need to see that they're hurt.
Thank you. Nizwile babukile bamakhaya bachazile okuningi, and I love you guys so much, and thank you so much for like.
There's no dessert.
Okay, I was not done. Then I was interrupted. Nizwile, and a lot happened. This can go far and far, but unfortunately, because of time. But before we can close the show, I've got an exercise that I want to give you guys. I've got gifts today. I've got my doctor, Pretty Matlaila, who is an optometrist, the one that deals with my eyes all the time. I'm wearing a Tom Ford from her today. And I've got a gift to give my viewers. This is my new season 4. So my doctor, because she loved me so much and I love her so much, she gave me this pair of Versace. It's 9,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give this away to one. It's a random. You just need to watch the show, comment, then it will happen. Then you will win them. They are so nice, guys. I wish they are mine. They are so much. It's a real deal.
Wow.
Yeah.
So this is front row at the funeral.
Remember we were talking about apartheid? So So what happening here? I'm gonna give you guys an exercise. You are ego. You are respect. You are humanity. So Nizwile, I've got ego, I've got respect, I've got humanity. So this one, the episode is coming on Tuesday, right? So this competition is gonna run at Tuesday. I'm gonna run it for 2 weeks. Yeah, for 2 weeks. Then you can catch it. Should I do it 3 weeks? 2 weeks. You can catch it because I will have clips on my TikTok. I've got clips on my Instagram, on my Facebook, and watch the episode on YouTube. It's Manches and Thoughts. The channel is doing very well. When I think I started this channel, just nobody, but where I am today, I am very proud of myself. And thank you guys for supporting me. And you are one of the residents.
Thank you.
I will start with ego. What I'm asking this exercise, it's what we are talking about. So I just want you to tell us ego, respect, humanity when it comes to apartheid.
Wait, what?
Yeah, what is
The ego.
The ego, the role that ego played with apartheid, the respect, the humanity. That what.
Let me body.
Ja nee, ek sê vir jou, hier is ons land hierso, daai kaffer is daarso, kyk vir daai kaffer daarso. Nou kom hier 'n ander swart kaffer. Ja, is ons land, ja. Die stem, sewede land. I don't know. Braai. Laat ons 'n braai maak. Ja, nee, is reg so. Ja.
That's in my mind. And sadly, the Afrikaner people, which are beautiful people, because they've got this apartheid linked to their brand. Afrikaans is not becoming cool anymore. Afrikaans is not becoming, even white Afrikaner young people are straying away from that because that tradition, that culture is so connected to apartheid. You know what I mean? And I'd like to believe the people, the Afrikaner that I've been with, that I've interacted with, they don't hold the same principles.
Yeah, they.
Most of them don't. Obviously, there are people that are racist. Obviously, the system in itself has not let go of the racism where you get FMB making people pay more for loans because they're black, or outsurance making people pay more premiums, monthly premiums. Discovery as well. It's still there. But I think it's a bit unfair for Rona as black people to connect that thing to every single white person or every single Afrikaner we see, or
Jy is mos racist here. Yeah, you do braais and vloek at black people whenever they want to.
No, it's not that way, So being the ego, I would say, it's
Thank you, ego.
Yeah.
Respect.
So when it comes to respect, I think that we need to gain back our self-respect after it's been stripped away from us by the apartheid system.
Okay. Wow. Humanity.
I think I'm going to say something Nota said about, because of the animal blood that we still need to be cleansed of, it's difficult for us to see one another's humanity. So I think we need to start remembering that we are all human.
Nizwileke bachazile ukuthi we need to go back. Sizazi ukuthi ngobani, sibuyaphi. So these classes I will give away, whoever that will answer this question again. Just name them. The exercise that we're playing. Just name them. You know their names, but name. And thank you so much and goodbye. Let's cheers to that, darlings. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chef.
Thank you.